Your water heater is probably the most ignored appliance in your home, and that neglect is exactly why most of them die 10 to 15 years too soon. What if a few simple habits could keep yours running strong for 30 years or more? With over 25 years in the plumbing trade, I've seen what separates a water heater that lasts from one that fails early. In this video, I'm covering 5 tricks that actually work. Stick around for trick number 4. Most homeowners completely overlook it, and don't miss the bonus tip at the end. It's something pros use that almost nobody talks about. The first trick that makes a real difference is flushing your tank annually, and if you've never done it, you might be shocked by what's been sitting at the bottom of your water heater. Every time water enters your tank, it carries dissolved minerals, calcium, magnesium, and other sediment, and over time, that material settles to the bottom and hardens. What starts as a thin layer eventually becomes a thick, crusty barrier sitting between your burner and the water it's supposed to heat. The result is longer heating cycles, higher energy bills, and a tank that works itself to death trying to do its job. Flushing is straightforward, and you don't need any special equipment. Start by turning off the power to an electric unit at the breaker, or setting a gas unit to the pilot setting. Connect a standard garden hose to the drain valve at the base of the tank and run the other end somewhere safe, a floor drain, a driveway, or a utility sink. Turn off the cold water supply. Open a hot water faucet somewhere in the house to break the vacuum, then open the drain valve. Let the tank drain completely. Here's where most people stop, but don't. Once the tank is empty, turn the cold water supply back on briefly and let it flush through the drain hose for 2 to 3 minutes. This stirs up any remaining sediment that clings to the bottom and pushes it out. You'll often see cloudy or gritty water coming through at first. Keep flushing until it runs clear. Close the drain valve, remove the hose, let the tank refill fully, and restore power or relight the pilot. The whole job takes under an hour, and it can add years to the life of your unit. If your water heater is older and you've never flushed it, there's a chance the drain valve itself is corroded or seized. In that case, don't force it. Call a plumber rather than risk a leak. For everyone else, put this on your calendar once a year. Your water heater will thank you for it. The second trick that separates a long-lasting water heater from an early replacement is replacing the anode rod. And this is the one most homeowners have never even heard of. The anode rod is a long metal rod, usually magnesium, aluminum, or zinc, that screws into the top of your water heater tank. Its entire purpose is to corrode so your tank doesn't have to. It's called a sacrificial anode for a reason. As long as the rod is doing its job, the steel walls of your tank stay protected. Once it's gone, rust starts eating the tank itself, and at that point, the clock is running out. Most anode rods last 3 to 5 years, depending on your water quality. Hard water chews through them faster. Soft water, especially if you have a water softener, can actually accelerate corrosion in a different way. So it's worth checking your rod annually if you're on softened water. To inspect or replace it, shut off the cold water supply and release some pressure by opening a hot water faucet. The rod is typically located under a plastic cap on top of the heater, or, on some models, under the sheet metal jacket. You'll need a 1 1/16 inch socket and a breaker bar. This fitting is almost always very tight. Apply penetrating oil and let it sit for a few minutes if needed. When you pull the rod out, here's what you're looking for. A healthy rod is thick and mostly intact. A rod that needs replacement is thin, heavily pitted, or coated in calcium. If it's down to the wire core, you're overdue. For most homes, a magnesium rod is the right choice. For homes with softened water, a powered anode rod from a brand like Protec is worth the investment. It uses a small electrical current to protect the tank without depleting like a standard rod does. Wrap the new rod's threads with thread seal tape, torque it down firmly, restore your water supply, and you're done. A replacement rod costs between $20 and $80. A new water heater costs between $800 and $2,000. The math speaks for itself. The third trick is one that takes about 30 seconds and can quietly extend your water heater's life while lowering your energy bill at the same time. And that's setting your thermostat to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Most water heaters come from the factory set somewhere between 130 and 140 degrees. Manufacturers do this partly for safety margin and partly out of caution. But for most households, the higher temperature is doing more harm than good. Here's why it matters for longevity. The hotter your water, the faster minerals precipitate out of solution and settle as sediment at the bottom of the tank. Running your heater hotter than necessary also puts more stress on the tank lining, the heating elements, and the temperature and pressure relief valve, which is one of the most important safety components on the unit. Pushing all of those parts harder than needed shortens their service life. 120 degrees Fahrenheit hits the sweet spot. It's hot enough to kill harmful bacteria, including Legionella. It's safe for household use, and it keeps thermal stress on the tank at a reasonable level. The Department of Energy also recognizes this as the recommended setting for most homes. Finding the thermostat depends on your unit type. On a gas water heater, there's usually a dial directly on the gas valve. Look for markings like A, B, C, or hot and very hot. On an electric water heater, you'll need to turn off the breaker, remove the access panel or panels, pull back the insulation, and adjust the dial with a flathead screwdriver. Some units have two elements with separate thermostats. Set both to the same temperature. If you have a household member who is immunocompromised or elderly, check with their doctor before lowering your temperature setting. And if you have a dishwasher without its own internal heater, verify that it can handle 120 degrees or boost its own water temperature on the fly. For most households, though, this one setting change saves energy, reduces wear, and costs you nothing to implement. If this is helping you out, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It helps get this video in front of more people who could use the info. All right, let's keep going. The fourth trick is one that most homeowners completely skip, and it's insulating your tank and the pipes connected to it. A water heater sitting in an unheated garage, a basement, or a utility closet is constantly fighting against the surrounding air temperature. Every time the water inside cools down even slightly, the unit has to fire up again to bring it back to temperature. That's called standby heat loss, and over the course of a year it adds up to hundreds of unnecessary heating cycles, all of them putting wear on your components. Adding a water heater blanket is one of the easiest upgrades you can make. Look for a product like the Frost King Water Heater Insulation Blanket, which is widely available at hardware stores and costs between $20 and $30. Before you buy, check your unit's label. Most modern gas water heaters have a note stating not to cover the top, the thermostat, or the burner access panel. Follow those restrictions. For electric water heaters, you have more flexibility and can wrap the top, as well as the sides. Measure the height and circumference of your tank, cut the blanket to fit, and secure it according to the manufacturer's instructions. Avoid covering any controls, vents, or pressure relief valve discharge pipes. Done correctly, a water heater blanket can reduce standby heat loss by 25 to 45%. Don't stop at the tank. Wrapping the first 3 to 6 feet of hot water pipe, leaving the top of the heater with foam pipe insulation, the kind sold in pre-cut lengths at any hardware store, keeps the heat in the pipe longer and reduces the energy needed to reheat water after periods of low use. Armaflex is a reliable brand for this. Match the insulation inside diameter to your pipe diameter. Most residential systems run on 3/4-inch pipe, so grab 3/4-inch insulation. This is a one-afternoon job with a lasting payoff, especially in colder climates. The fifth and final trick is one that not enough homeowners know about, and it could be silently damaging your water heater right now. And that's installing a thermal expansion tank. Here's what's happening inside your plumbing system. When cold water enters your water heater and gets heated, it expands. In older open plumbing systems, that expanded water could push back into the municipal supply line without any problem. But most modern homes now have what's called a closed system, meaning a check valve or a pressure-reducing valve at the meter prevents water from flowing backward. That's good for water quality, but it creates a pressure problem. When water expands inside a closed system and has nowhere to go, pressure builds up inside your tank. This repeated pressurization stresses the tank walls, the fittings, the temperature and pressure relief valve, and every connection in your hot water system. Over time, it shortens the life of the entire system and can cause the relief valve to weep or drip as it tries to release excess pressure. An expansion tank, sometimes called a thermal expansion tank, solves this by giving that expanded water somewhere safe to go. It's a small tank, typically 2 to 4 gallons, with an internal bladder that absorbs the pressure. Brands like Amtrol and Watts make reliable options that most plumbers reach for regularly. Installation requires cutting into the cold water supply line near the water heater and fitting a T, then connecting the expansion tank. This is a job many confident DIYers can handle with basic soldering skills or push-fit fittings like SharkBite. But if you're unsure, it's worth having a plumber do it. The cost is modest, and the protection it provides is significant. Many municipalities now require expansion tanks on all new water heater installations, so check your local code. If your home has a closed system and no expansion tank, this is one of the highest impact upgrades you can make. All right, here's the bonus tip that pros actually use, and almost nobody in the DIY world talks about this one. Test your temperature and pressure relief valve once a year. That valve, the T&P valve, is your water heater's last line of defense against a catastrophic pressure buildup. If it fails and pressure gets high enough, a water heater can rupture violently. It's rare, but it happens, and a stuck or corroded relief valve is exactly how it starts. Testing it takes about 10 seconds. There's a small lever on the valve. Lift it briefly and let it snap back. You should hear a rush of hot water or steam discharge into the drain pipe connected to it. If it lifts and snaps back cleanly, you're good. If it sticks, doesn't release, or drips continuously afterward, replace it. A new T&P valve costs between $15 and $30 and installs with basic hand tools. Pros replace these proactively every 5 to 7 years regardless of condition, because a valve that's never been tested is a valve you can't trust. That one simple annual check is what keeps a water heater from becoming a very expensive and potentially dangerous problem. Thanks for watching the whole thing. If you got something out of this, leave a like, subscribe for more, and check out the other videos on the channel.